Alright guys, we're starting this video off strong with iron armor and a goal. Today, I want to get settled into this world properly and find a place to call home. I know I've put quite a bit of effort and time into making this village safe from mobs, but I definitely don't want this to be where I live. And, since we managed to find 2 saddles last episode, the first thing on my to-do list is to get a good horse so I can explore around a little more easily. The first horse I tamed was too slow to be worth using, but luckily there were a few more horses not too far away. And the second horse I tamed was also slow, which sucks, but just as the sun set and night fell, I finally found a good horse. Then I ran back to my bed to get some sleep for the night, and now I know I just spent all that effort into getting a horse, but apparently a good night's sleep did a quick factory reset on my brain or something like that, because I immediately set out to explore it without it as soon as I woke up. I don't know, maybe I just wanted to get some good exercise and just go for a walk. Yeah, I instead crafted a boat, and I made my way across the lake I used for food in the last episode. I got distracted by a cave entrance for a second before continuing in the direction I'd chosen to explore. There admittedly wasn't really all that much to see where I'd gone, so when I found some wolves in a forest and didn't have any bones on me, I headed back home to grab some. I made it back to the village pretty quickly and grabbed all the bones I had, ready to tame some wolves. And this time, I actually thought things through a little, and I brought my bed with me and decided to ride my horse. We're using our brain for once. It's a shocker, I know. Also, the horse's name is John, apparently. No, I won't be taking any constructive criticism. It took me a few minutes to find the wolves again, but I did end up finding them eventually and managed to tame 3 of them. They don't have names yet, but they're still important members of the family, okay? After that, I got back on John and went back to exploring. I found this pretty cool mountain right across the valley that looked pretty promising as far as homes go, so I grabbed a few pumpkins from the valley below before heading back to the village to grab some materials to get started building. There was a snowy slopes biome and a roofed forest right above the village, so I went up there to get some dark oak and spruce wood since I generally like building with darker wood, with the slight exception of acacia. And there was a lot of powdered snow up where I was chopping down trees, so I also spent a few minutes just having fun with it. I don't know, it's just cool to basically walk through a wall into a whole other world. And also, you've got to understand, this was my first ever experience with powdered snow, so I was vibing. I was living life to the fullest and just enjoying messing around with a new feature. Those are some of the best moments you'll have in Minecraft. And once I felt like I'd grabbed a good amount of wood and saplings, I started heading back to the village. Along the way, I got distracted though, and stumbled upon this mountain right here. The mountain itself, along with the area all around it, looked absolutely amazing. Plus, there was a donkey on top of it. And I know I had already set my mind on making a different mountain into my home, but at this point, I'd fully changed my mind. This one was just too good to turn down. There was a massive water cave to one side, the top of the mountain was flat enough to build on, and there was a river system plus a big plains biome on the other side. It was the perfect combo. So I tamed the donkey and rode it back to the village. As soon as we made it back, I bred the donkey with John so that I'd have a mule. Then I went down into the mines. I wanted to collect some deep slate to use for my house, so I mined deep slate for quite a while, managing to collect 10.5 stacks of deep slate and 2 stacks of tuff. But then, of course, I got distracted again. I started exploring the cave some more just to see the scope of it all, and found 2 more veins of diamonds along the way. They were both pretty small veins, admittedly. Hell, one of them was literally just a vein of 1. But hey, some is definitely better than none in this situation. After that, I made my way back to the surface and tamed our mule friend. I equipped him with a chest so that he could be my pack mule, and named him Fredulous, apparently. Again, I won't be taking any constructive criticism on my names whatsoever. His name is Fredulous, and he is my friend, and that's final, alright? But yeah, anyways, I loaded his chest up with all the deep slate and tuff I just collected. I grabbed my wooden saplings from the chest, and set out to the mountain where I'd found Freddy's mother. Once I'd made it back to the mountain, I made a small pen for my boy Freddy to keep him from running away. And I mean, I don't know about you, but looks to me like he likes it. Then I made a chest and sorted out my inventory a little and started working on flattening out an area for my house. It only took maybe 10 minutes tops since the area was already pretty flat. Then I started outlining the shape of my house with cobblestone. I already had a vague idea of how I wanted it to look, but my idea was still pretty abstract at this point. I really liked the idea of splitting the house in half with a pathway through the middle, so I was mainly just trying to figure out how the hell to make that work out properly. I made an outline for how I wanted it to work out pretty quickly, but I still wasn't sure how I was going to arrange it on the inside. Since we're not quite at that point in the build yet though, I grabbed my saplings and deep slate from the chest. I planted some dark oak and spruce trees near where I had the house outline, so that I could start to get some more wood to build with, and then made my way back over to the house outline with my deep slate and tuff. For the floor of my house, I wanted to branch out a little and put some more effort than I usually do, so I decided to craft some of the deep slate into other styles for me to work with. My plan was to just start placing blocks at random inside the outline, and whatever I end up with will be the floor. And, believe it or not, it doesn't look too bad. It's a bit scuffed, but that's pretty on brand, honestly, so I'd still call it a win in my book. But in an attempt to make things look at least a little less scuffed, I went around and replaced the cobblestone outline with dark oak logs. Then I went around and stripped them with my axe. I don't know, I just feel like it looks a little fancier that way. Then I placed down the doors for each half of the house, and since the floor is one block above the ground where I put down the doors, I had to mine some of the floor out and place down slabs so that I could get in and out easily. And now we're officially at the part of the house building where I have no clue how I want things to look. The only idea I have for the walls is just that I don't want them to be all one block. I want it to alternate kind of like the floor, but I hadn't quite decided on what blocks to use yet or what pattern or anything like that. So it's time to experiment, I guess. First I tried having it alternate between dark oak planks and deep slate brick stairs, but that didn't really look all that good. Then I tried it with cobbled deep slate stairs, and then polished deep slate stairs, but none of them looked even remotely how I wanted them to. Then I decided to try alternating between spruce logs and dark oak planks, and finally I'd found something that looked good and fit the aesthetic I was going for. Now I just had to copy the design all over the house, which is definitely easier said than done considering I had almost no spruce wood at this point. But regardless of my lack of materials, I managed to get the walls all put up for one side of the house, and then grabbed some of my deep slate and started working on making a staircase so I could get over the entranceway and into the other half of the house without having to go outside. It's nothing too fancy, but I did end up with a fairly simple design that would do the job just fine. Hey, that rhymes. And at this point, I decided to just go ahead and fully finish the entranceway since I'd already gotten started on it. I crafted some deep slate brick stairs and started lining the inside of the entranceway so that there'd be a roof over it. It's a pretty short roof, admittedly, but when I tried making it a block taller, it just did not look right at all. So we're sticking with 2 blocks tall. Even if those are peasant numbers, it looks better, so I'm sticking with it. With that done, I went ahead and finished the walls for the other half of the house real quick. And now, with everything all set up, it's time to figure out how the hell the roof of this house is going to work out. Because with how I had things planned out at the moment, I wanted one side of the house to have a lower roof, while the other side had a slightly taller roof to make room for a bit of a second floor. So to get things started, I just went around and made some pillars on the walls to get an idea of how tall certain parts of the house would be. With those set up, I grabbed some deep slate from my chest and started working on setting up the indoor balcony that was going to make up the second floor. It was far from perfect and definitely wasn't the final design for the balcony at all, but I settled on this for the time being and then got back to work on figuring out the roof. It took a lot of careful deliberation and more brain power than I'm used to using in this game, but I did eventually manage to build a roof for the house that I'm proud of. After that, I added some minor details inside to make the place look and feel a bit homier, and just like that, I have a nice house I can call home. And also, we're at the end of the episode. There are definitely still quite a few things for me to add to the house, like it doesn't even have a fucking bed inside, or a crafting table, or a furnace, or a chest. It's just an empty shell at this point. But I'll save those for the next episode since the script for this one is getting pretty lengthy. So yeah, thank you so much for first off watching the video, but also making it all the way to the end. It means a lot, it really does. And just like always, I hope you guys have a fucking amazing day. I'll see you next time.